I'm Khalid Al Qassabi, and you're listening to the Duqm Now podcast, which is a podcast created by the Special Economic Zone at Duqm, taking place here in the Crown Plaza, Duqm. And I'm very lucky to have with me three leaders in the industry of petrochemicals, renewable energy, and of course, the governing body over these. With me to talk today about Petrochemicals 2.0, I have Mohammed Al Hashmi, who is the Chief Operations Officer for OQ8, the biggest name when it comes to petrochemicals, especially here in Duqm, with a giant partnership between Oman and Kuwait. We also have with us Khalid Al Qassabi, who is the Director General of Industry at the Ministry of Commerce, Industry and Investment Promotion. And then, of course, we have Dr. Idris Siyabi, who is the Lead for Renewable Energy at Petroleum Development Oman, PDO. Welcome to you all, and let's jump right in.
Established by the government, Development Bank has been a steadfast partner to Oman's business community since 1976. We offer a suite of tailored financial products and services designed to support the development of a fairer, more sustainable economy, empowering Omani businesses at every stage. For startups seeking seed capital or established enterprises looking for growth financing, Development Bank is here to support every ambition.
I'm going to start with you, Mr. Mohammed. When it comes to petrochemicals, on a base level, what are they? And then, what is Petrochemicals 2.0? What do we mean by that?
Thank you, Talal. Really glad to be here with you at this podcast. Petrochemical, basically, it's a value chain that comes from oil and gas industries. So, oil and gas industry started with the preliminary product that comes from the refineries. Then, just to maximize the value out of the hydrocarbon products, we goes further down into manufacturing to produce something called petrochemicals. Those petrochemicals, of course, some of them, they are end products, and many of them, they are a feedstock for other further downstream products. That goes into so many industries, from medicals, cosmetics, painting, and you name them. Now, this industry is evolving. As it evolved, it started with the refinery products, then it goes to the petrochemical products. Now even it's evolving to more performance and specialized chemicals. The industry now evolved because the customer behaviors has changed. People, they are after sustainability, after the different use of habits. So with those habits, the industry has really to evolve with that. In addition to the habits, there are also legalizations restrictions related to the carbon footprint of those products. Therefore, the industry still, they seen it as it's a growing industry, but the life cycle of the product has to be greener with low carbon intensity. Therefore, we call this a new version of the petrochemicals is Petrochemicals 2.0. Which is greener in terms of the footprint, using more renewables or decarbonizations aspects in order to make the final footprint of the life cycle of this product is much lower than the very conventional petrochemicals.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Mohammed. When it comes to these petrochemicals, in most scenarios, a lot of the end product is plastic, correct? Types of plastic.
Plastic is one type of the products, but there are so many products. And, that's also one of the perceptions, it's unfortunately. Plastic is one of the end products, but there are so many other products that goes into so many aspects, including the medicines industries. So it's not just a plastic.
Okay, could you give us examples of other ones?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, cosmetic industries, painting industries, packaging industries, textiles, so many things. I mean, you name them, including the electric cars, by the way, they come, the final product, it comes from originally petrochemicals products. So it touch everything in our daily life.
So basically, even if I can, Mohammed, if I can add, those products which is generating a green energy, for example, wind turbine, solar PV, it's all, produced by petrochemical products. So that's, I think, very essential product or industry in the energy transition journeys.
Could you elaborate more about how these two come hand in hand? Because usually when people hear petro or petrochemicals, they immediately think about the effect on the environment. So how does Petrochemicals 2.0 work from the perspective of someone who's all about renewable energy?
Yeah, as Mohammed said, that Petrochemical 2.0, it has an element of decarbonization, circular economies, and digitalization. So if we take decarbonization by itself, one of the aspects that the Petrochemical 2.0 can be greener is how to utilize the green energy generated by renewable energy, starting from the receiving raw materials, then production, then going to the delivering this to the customer. Customer use this one. All this life cycle, it's considered to be. All this has to be calculate the amount of carbon in this one. So the specifically for production of these petrochemical materials, it needs like a very high intensive energy. And those energy, it has to come from green as per regulation, as Mohammed said. So renewable energy could fulfill that or can generate that green energy by using solar and wind energy.
Okay. Khalid, from the perspective of industry, of course, we have a lot happening here in Oman, and there are many green industries taking place. What about the petrochemical industry, in your opinion, makes it important for the Sultanate of Oman and for, among other industries? What really makes it stand out?
Thanks, Talal, and thanks for my colleagues here to be, and very glad to be with them as well. Indeed, as they mentioned, when it comes from as a petrochemical, it is very crucial industry. And if we go back to the industry and manufacturing strategy, it's divided industry sector, subsectors into three main categories. And petrochemicals comes in the main category, which is the natural resources based industries. And as we know all, Oman is one of the countries that produce the oil and gas energy, which help us to be a leader into maybe going for this direction. In addition, as another category, this petrochemical touch is which is the capital intensive industry, because we need to merge between having the raw material and also being a high intensive industry. So this combination gives the petrochemical the strength to be the future, at least for the upcoming few years. So will not be able to run away from having the petrochemicals. And as he was mentioning, that petrochemicals comes across all the sectors, not only and not only plastic. It is coming in all other industries, medical industry, food industries. So all are dependent in petrochemicals. However, we need to be a little bit careful how we can cope with the new changes, new regulations in the environment. So we need to be competitive, not only being a cost, low cost, but we need also, when it comes to be competitive, when it comes to low carbon footprint. So these two conditions should be supported by all the producers of the petrochemicals, and also the challenge that is seen by, because all other consumers now behind compliance with the regulations, with the policy of having the products compliance with the new regulations. So we need a little bit to look all the supply chain, how we can make sure that our industry is complying and being in the front of having this industry competitive and attractive for foreign investors as well.
When you're speaking of compliance to the different standards and regulations, whose regulations are we talking about in this area?
because as we know that all the globe now looking for zero emission, and Oman is one of the countries that is put it as a target for us to have 50% by 2030, and we need to work toward that. So how we do that? By having all the strategies coming from, when it comes from industrial strategy 2040, in renewable energy strategy, and all serving our Oman Vision 2040 to achieve our targets and goals, to be in the leaders for that. So complying with this policies will require an integration work and effort between all the authorities, and it will not be only just the government sector. It should be all with the private sector as well. So they need all to work hand by hand in order to achieve the targets in more efficient and competitive manner.
Fantastic. Right now, we have a lot of goals: 2030, 50%, 2040, the Oman Vision, 2050, carbon neutrality. There's a lot of goals we have to work towards. I would like to know, where do we stand right now specifically with petrochemicals in the country, and how can we gain a competitive edge so that we can achieve those goals while revitalizing our petrochemical industry? Where do we stand right now?
Maybe I will start, and maybe Mohammed can later on add on. As a targets, we have it. So, however, what we need to start working this, setting the new systems, new contracts. For example, when you have an investor, we don't want to be hard with them to give them that we need to comply from day one with these new regulations. However, we need to know what will be their plan in order to achieve, or the roadmap, how they are going to achieve their vision, because they need to start maybe by having the conventional way. However, they need to have a roadmap for change by having the renewable energy roadmap or change. So having that, it will be supported. The other thing that we need to have is to have a proper and accurate systems to monitor the compliance and the measurement of all these systems and carbon. So all these emissions, and Oman also has established a net zero emission center. And this center is going to work and support all the government and private sectors in order to assure that we will be able to achieve our targets. So all these forces will be able to help us contracting all the incentives and also the facilities that is available. In addition to the free zones, the industrial zones, already made strong, robust, to have all the systems supporting the implementation of our systems and targets as well.
Mohammed?
Well, I think this is the true north that we have is the net zero by 2050. So Oman Centers for the Net Zero, it's now the monitoring body that enable those industries really for the transitions. So it comes from there. The net zero strategy, it's to define the sector that need to be prioritized in order for us to reach the net zero. And the main one, which is the manufacturing, which is petrochemicals belong. So now all manufacturing, including those petrochemicals companies, now they put effort and investment in place in order really to just get into the target. It becomes part of the KPIs of organizations. It's part of their annual KPIs. It's part of their capital investment that needs to get an approval every year. So those investments will be materialized. I mean, the results of those investments probably in the next upcoming 5 years. Petrochemical industries, they have a potential really for the transitions and to reduce those footprint. There are different aspects for that. One of them is by decarbonizations and decarbonization initiatives. There are so many engineering solutions really to reduce the footprint of each organizations, including the closed system that we use during the engineering of each of those plants. Another aspect, which is also the green molecules aspects, when it comes to the green hydrogen, it comes to those investments. So still in the refinery business where we have, there is no single refinery mostly where they have hydrotreatment, they run without hydrogen. It's just a matter of the source of the hydrogen. For now, the source of the hydrogen is they call it the gray hydrogen, which we get it from the natural gas. So there is a huge potential really to move into the green hydrogen, which is really an important source for chemical and petrochemical plants. So working in both aspects, in addition to the circularity that being mentioned by Dr. Idris, I think now even whatever we are emitting, whatever there is a carbon capture technologies, I know many petrochemicals and chemical organizations they are investing on them, and guess what? Even with those carbon and capture technologies, it's sometimes very visible even economically. So it's not just driven by the carbon or decarbonizations strategies, but they are sometimes driven even economically. And it becomes very visible for many organizations really to capture those carbons. So that's where we are today. We are still digesting. We are still, the net zero has imposed those regulations, framework into those manufacturing industries. But what we see it's also an opportunity for those industries really to gain the market share, to gain the consumers' trust, and also to become very competitive in the global market, because ultimately many of these industries, especially in Oman, they're targeting the global market. And that's really the market where you need to be very competitive, and you need really to be greener, to be, just moving with the trend of the energy transitions. Therefore, you still maintain your market share.
Okay. Doctor, from a renewable energy perspective, Duqm, of course, is coming up as a new hub for so many industries, and petrochemicals is just one of them. How can these different industries in a place like Duqm come together and integrate so that they can become even more within the lines of the vision that we have for carbon neutrality and the efforts for renewable energy?
Yeah, I think the integration is very strong, and it is very logic. As Mohammed said, we have like the green hydrogen, we have petrochemicals, we have a lot of wind energy farms, solar PV plants. So the integration is strong. But the question now, how this could be, what's the driver for those? For example, if I can mention that the industries will be pushed, or it will be like it will drive itself to the green. How this? What does it mean? For example, the power generated from renewable energy, solar and wind, for example, is considered as cost competitive as of now. So that's a logic, and it is like a natural flow for the industries to utilize those type of technologies. The push part is coming from the international regulations, for example, where we can see the EU, they have a very aggressive standard and regulation for the plastic and recycling this one, and the part related to the carbon footprint for each product that has been, and also from the UN, I think they are going to have some sort of regulation to impose the recycled plastics in the new products. So that's what I'm trying to say. Duqm offers a very good example and opportunities for the green for petrochemical 2.0 by utilizing the renewable energy. It's very competitive, and I think it's very promising to decarbonize, whether it's an existing petrochemicals or for the future petrochemicals, where you can see a huge land filled with the high potential of solar, wind, and the green hydrogen, as Mohammed said, it's required for the refineries as a hydrogen. So that's another also demand in Duqm.
Okay. If I may, Khalid, what does this all mean to the average man who might be listening or watching right now? What does it mean for the people living here in Duqm or Oman as a whole to see this industry thrive?
See, basically, when it comes to anybody who's living in Oman, they should be proud because of having our government is supporting the transformation to the new goals of the world. And what we can see here that Oman started maybe attracting some big events. For example, last week we were having our green hydrogen summit, and there was lots of effort and value out of that event. And in addition to the infrastructure, so when it comes to the Duqm itself, the position of Duqm is as infrastructure is very well supported by all means when it comes to the port, to the airport, also to the other facilities, the infrastructure, and it can start for each investment toward this direction from A to Z. So it is an integrated platform where you can have everything. What makes Duqm is unique, the position of Oman, and you have access to the world. And for all for other investment coming to this zone, they can have access supported by all the FTAs that Oman has. For example, we have FTA with USA, with Europe, with Singapore, with all Arab countries, in addition to the Gulf. And there are many on the way coming. So all these facilities and enablers make the investment in the green hydrogen, also in the renewable, is attractive and potential for a major success and to be the leader in this business.
So when we're looking at an industry growing, of course, there are things that need to push it. Number one, hands on the ground, people who are actually putting this together. What could this mean for the job market? What do we need to focus on for talent and skills, and how can we build them here in Oman? And I put the question out to everyone here.
Just last year, or I think it was 2024, there was a very good study by IEA. It's about the opportunity for Oman really to adopt the know-how, the knowledge, the expertise, and the talent that we have built throughout decades in oil and gas industries into renewables. I just complement what's been said about the competitive advantage of the geographical locations of Oman, and particularly in Duqm. Duqm, where we have the lands, and we have also renewable projects which been already announced and they are coming in the pipeline. I'm not talking just about green hydrogen project, but the renewable project where they produce the power. The government has the target of getting 30% from renewables by 2030, which is, technically speaking, like 4 or 5 years down the line. So you can imagine that you need to add up how many gigawatts into the grid. And those, they are available for any manufacturing industries to come and invest in Duqm. So our source of power will be 30% in the entire grid of the country from renewable energy. And this is really in very short period of time. So as a knowledge and the talent that we have in Oman, this is another opportunities for any FDI really to come. Because those people, they can easily work and into the value chain of the renewable energy, including the green hydrogen. In the green hydrogen manufacturing also, if you work throughout the process of the green hydrogen, where it comes whether into the final form of ammonia, we have been with ammonia many years, and we got ammonia plants in Oman. We have the national capabilities to really work on such industries. We got people, they are well experienced in desalination plant, because we have been with the desalinations for decades now. We have really educated and well-qualified people in the petrochemical industries, and we have one of the biggest complexes in Oman, Luwa Plastic, which produced really the famous grades of polypropylene and polyethylene. So that model, which we have seen it in Sohar, it's really the model that we need to use it in Duqm and even expand it, because the competitive advantage of Duqm to have renewables, it's another enabler really to have that model. So what's the model in Sohar? The model in Sohar, if we go back like just 15 years ago or 20 years ago, we just start anchoring the industry there with the Sohar refinery itself. Just few years down the line, we got so many petrochemicals plant around it. We got aromatic plant, we got polypropylene plant, we got Luwa Plastic, we got Sohar refinery too. And today, if you go Sohar, and those who visited Sohar just 10 years ago or 15 years ago, and they see it today, it's massive transformation. That case study really need to be replicated, because it's a success story that we need really to have it in Duqm as well. What comes next, which was the effort of the last 3 to 4 years in Oman, because this is coping up with the market trend, with the global mega trends as well. Because now people, they are not looking into the petrochemical industries as just a commodities. They're looking into them, in order for you to sustain your competitiveness, you need to go into specialized chemicals. So our reaction into this, there was a joint effort between OQ and Madain. Together in Sohar, they formed a small industries, or a small ecosystem over there. They call it Ladain. This Ladain, it use those petrochemicals product that comes from Luwa Plastic into further downstream industries that produce packaging or painting or whatever further downstream industries. It attracted a lot of FDIs. It attracted also SMEs, Omani SMEs, and also it generate further value from the petrochemical industry. Here where we get the job opportunities. Here we leverage on really the ecosystem that we have. Here where we leverage also on the source of energy and our natural resources. And I think really we need to work in the same directions. And I'm 100% sure whatever we have in Duqm, really it's an enabler, and even further enabler, because the potential of the land and of course the potential for wind energy and solar energy in Duqm, even much better than any other place in the country and even in the region. So we need really to capitalize on that factor that we have.
Khalid, I saw you nod there and smile when he mentioned Sohar and the change that Sohar's gone through over 15 years or so. How can we take from that example, and how can we go even further when it comes to Duqm? Not just becoming a similar success story, but walking ahead and making it bigger and bigger.
Yeah, indeed, Sohar is like a great success story here in Oman, and we want to replicate the success of Sohar in Duqm by focusing in the downstream industries. As we have seen that maybe starting with one industry or factory that maybe it will build the other factories, and this is helping us to be, instead of exporting our raw materials, to be able to export our final products. So for example, in Sohar, he mentions some good examples about the petrochemicals factories. At the same time, there will be some great success in the renewable, in the solar panel, like polysilicon factory, which will be open soon. It is a great success in one of the biggest investment within the Middle East, and this will help us to achieve our petrochemical 2.0 success, because it is an enabler to go with the renewable to support the petrochemical chain. This is one. The other thing that we are like working on as an industrial strategy is to look what are the main products that we are importing from abroad, and think how we can build these investment and localize them. So attract these huge investment, and there are huge efforts not only from our ministry but from all the ministries that seeing what we can attract in order to achieve our targets by maximizing and accelerating the vision of making Duqm now better than the future. So we need to start attracting these investment, and as it was mentioned, huge like incentives are provided to the investors here in Duqm. The infrastructure is ready, just a matter of getting the investor here. And as we mentioned, not only looking for Oman, we need to have access to billion of people, all the countries from Oman. Oman is a peaceful country, and also it is like having a good relation with all the countries. So investment is safe, secure, and success. This is in summary.
Yeah. If I may add to what Mohammed and Khalid said about replication, I don't think replication is by its mean. We need to replicate what's in Sohar, bring it here. I think, as now we heard about Petrochemical 2.0, for example, it needs a lot of process efficiency. It needs a lot to utilize a lot of new science, for example, AI tools. You need to use, for example, the green chemistry, how to recycle, for example, chemical recycling. So all these new subjects or new concepts for so whether it's from process perspective or from the utilizing those AI tools and automation, I think that's very important to achieve. First of all, to be competitive with the global market, because as we know, China is filling this petrochemicals, the normal one. I mean, with all markets. So it's very, very difficult to compete with those traditional petrochemicals. But if we introduce those Petrochemical 2.0, I think we need to utilize everything what we have from the efficiency of process, try to utilize drones, AI, automation, having some certification. For example, carbon certification is very important also to certify your product, that's carbon. And this is required a huge manpower to be only specialized on those topics.
And that's the uniqueness of Duqm, in fact. That's the really the competitive advantage that we have to just instead of just replicating as is to be the Petrochemical 2.0 for Oman.
From all of your perspectives, when it comes to what we have ahead of us over the next 3 years up until 2030 and what comes after that, what is something we can look forward to see happen for Oman? What are some real outcomes we can feel over the next few years, in your opinions?
Maybe if I talk about it from the industry perspective, as I mentioned that petrochemicals is from the priority list of industries that is focused, and we have to put more focus in terms of heavy capital intensive industries, and this will require like a sub or the downstreams industries, because it is like a hybrid industry. It's mixed between petrochemical, the conventional way, and going with the renewable. So having these together, for sure, it will make us in the front or the leaders of going with this direction, and this will help us to achieve our target by creating more jobs for the new generation. And what I want to mention here, that our higher educations, institutions, the academia, going with that direction. And I have seen a very good examples of a good project coming for the petrochemicals, for the renewable green hydrogen from the students, which is line by line with the vision of the country. And moving with that direction, we need to take care of all these efforts coming from these graduates, and help them to be in the industry. So if it is like take an example of number of jobs currently in the industry sector, around 10% in the petrochemicals, and I'm sure that by 2030 will be creating more jobs, because we have a target to create 100,000 jobs by 2040, and we are doing all the effort and necessary work to achieve that objective, creating 100,000 jobs by 2040, inshallah.
Inshallah. Doctor, what do we have in our soon future?
I think in the future is a transformation, to be honest, in everything in Duqm, because as we know, Duqm is a relatively new area, greenfield, but that's what we call normally in engineering, greenfield, which means that you can bring new industries and you can engineer that industry as per your requirement. So if we speak particularly for the petrochemicals 2.0, there is an opportunity. We have Duqm refinery, and it could be improved in terms of process, in terms of to be low carbon for generation that could supply this new petrochemical. So that's what I can say. It's transformation in terms of geographic of a Duqm to be part of this industry, big industry, and also industrial transformation. As Mohammed said, once you build these petrochemicals, it will attract a lot of industries, whether from small industries, medium industries, or even big industries. And lastly, it will be economic transformation for Oman eventually, because these big industries, it will help to make the economic more diverse, not only oil and gas, but you have industries. You could import some raw materials, feedstock from outside Oman, and you can export low carbon products.
Fantastic. Mohammed?
I think I would say we are ready to label Duqm as a hub for Petrochemical 2.0. And really that's the niche of the industry that we have in Duqm. We got the feedstock, we got the infrastructure, we got the upstream industries, we got the talented people who've been who has a legacy of accumulated competencies in oil and gas, in terms of the engineering, in terms of fabrications of engineering, in terms of maintenance, and so many types of services. So having all of this ecosystem around, I think it's qualified Duqm for the next era, which is the era of Petrochemical 2.0.
Fantastic. Thank you all very much for taking part in today's episode of Duqm Now. And we cannot wait to see all these goals, all these targets come to life and have their true impact on Duqm and the country as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
This is the Duqm Now podcast, Petrochemicals 2.0. You can find this whole episode on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. I'm Khalid Al Qassabi. Thank you for listening.